Could the Epstein survivors actually finally get the justice they deserve? Well, if you thought 2025 couldn't get any weirder, buckle up, because here we go.
I'm sure many of you don't recall, but we were sent home early to try to avoid being able to take a vote on something like getting these files. We are about doing real transparency. We don't care who's in the files, we are going after you. So, if I had to sum up what happened today, we heard the stories of victims, and honestly, we heard the story of at least one person that has never come forward before today. This was the very first time that she was telling anyone in a semi-public way her story. And if I had to summarize the theme, I would say that their theme was to do something. It is probably the theme of the American people in general right now when it comes to government, is that they want us to do something. So yes, we have the roundtable, but they actually want to see some action. The fact that this started off in the 90s and we had someone who could talk about what happened to them in the 90s, but then you go down the line and you've got somebody that's telling us their story from 2008. These failures led to years and years of abuse that did not have to take place. And so the reality is this: some think that this is all over and some think that nothing else is going on. But if there was ever a RICO case, it would have been the Epstein case. Whether we're talking about the banks that were involved, whether we're talking about those that worked for him, that helped him, whether we're talking about the monster known as Maxwell, and that's exactly how y'all need to refer to her. She is a monster. She is not a victim. So let me tell you, I want some action items to come out of this, because for once we somewhat look like we're bipartisan in the oversight committee. Number one, we need answers. We need answers on why it is that Maxwell was transferred from her current station or her former station in Florida down to Texas. We need to have an understanding, because everything that I heard today leads me to know that for sure she was all up and in and through this entire process. Not to mention that she was indicted by a jury of her peers, and then she was tried and convicted and given 20 years. Why is it we have high-level people that seemingly are running cover for a criminal?
Thought there were so many great interviews. There was one last night interview with a panel, and then there was the entire press conference today. I thought this one is really going to be interesting to see what comes from this, I think.
Hi there. My name is Lisa Phillips, and I'm the host of a award-nominated podcast called From Now On, a platform supporting survivors. I want to thank all of my survivor sisters who came before me today. I'll be very short. In the year 2000, I was taken to Jeffrey Epstein's island while on a photo shoot on a nearby island. Who I saw and what I experienced there was a glimpse into a very dark and disturbing world. For years after, I tried to avoid Jeffrey, but he had introduced me to Katie Ford, the owner of the Ford Modeling Agency. Epstein's reach went to the very top of fashion, arts, and entertainment. This did not just happen to underage girls in Florida. In New York City, hundreds of young, ambitious women were abused by him. Epstein was not just a serial predator, he was an international human trafficker. And many around him knew, many participated, and many profited. And yet he was protected. So I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
She's the only one of color that's come forward. We don't know about all the other survivors, right? I
It
think
just
there are like
amazes me that
1,000.
there's only 2 people that have been really even charged. I mean, have been charged. There's cooks and there's
Mhm.
decorators and builders and there's all kinds of people.
Yeah, no, I mean, it
Silent.
seemed like, and this sounds so sick, but it seems like Jeffrey and them, they got a type of the women that they like to abuse and assault. That's the
Yeah.
first black looking person that I've seen in this. And not that I'm saying that they are not there, but or like there aren't survivors there, but also we got to remember one thing underlying that nobody gives a fuck about what happens to black women. So they're not going to be the ones at the forefront of this anyway. So we got to remember that because you know it is just what it is.
They ain't gonna sell the case as quick as the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Those men must be very, very scared when they heard.
Oh, I know it. I'm scared for the girls.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I want to know. What do you think about them creating a list? It was a little bit vague when they said confidentially. Does it
Yeah.
mean even
Maybe for their lawyers or I don't know.
Or maybe they just said it to cover themselves legally.
Yeah.
Like
There was a
the
lot. They were so
The
grinning
other
in the background.
yeah, because like
maybe she
influence.
gotta say legally and do that shit gangsta on the outside and go ahead and just wreak havoc on these people. They don't deserve any mercy or nice treatment or propriety here. Fuck them. Go
They're not
ahead and
gonna
do what you
sue
gotta
her.
do.
If they keep the file secret, then the people on the list could say they're slandering their name and we wouldn't
And
know.
then go ahead and sue. And then, bitch, I'm not paying you a goddamn dime. You
But the
can sue me
discovery
to
would
oblivion.
determine it.
I don't care.
Something that just made this whole thing just even worse was, did you guys see that they were like showing photos of the files that got released? There were entire pages just blacked out.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of that? It's just insulting to
It's
these
a free.
these poor women that went up there and were brave enough to speak out. And this shit is just insulting.
Yeah, there is legally under the judge. I think initially that some information cannot be. It has to remain sealed. I do remember reading that, especially with the
That I understand.
grand jury testimony.
But didn't they
I mean,
say it's 97% of that information was already given to the public or out?
yes,
There's a video I saw today. Political Punk. I don't know if anybody's seen his work, but he's super cool. And he went through a list of 30 women that came out and said that Trump had assaulted them in some way. It might not have been straight up rape, but it was like, he forced a kiss on them or groped them or reached under their skirt type shit.
there's one more video.
I'm Melanie Stansbury, and I represent New Mexico's 1st Congressional District. And I want to say that I'm truly stunned by what I heard today. The thing about being a victim of assault, of sexual violence, is that it not only steals your sense of self, it steals your dignity, it steals your ambition, it steals your hopes, it steals your dreams, and it steals your sense of personhood. And what we heard today is from a half dozen victims, some of whom have already pursued both civil and criminal suits against both Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as from several who have never told their stories in public before. But before I turn to the substance of the case itself, I want to say to anyone out there who is currently experiencing abuse of any kind, we see you. But I want to be clear that what we heard today is a cover up. And it is a cover up of epic proportions, a cover up involving the United States government, the justice system, rich and powerful individuals, a cover up potentially involving foreign countries and foreign actors. And yes, here today in this House, as our colleagues are up in the House chamber in the Rules Committee, a cover up by the Republicans in this chamber. Because as you will find out in the coming days and weeks, this goes all the way to the top. So let's be clear about that. There has been a systemic failure of the justice system for decades, a systemic failure to hold people who are powerful and have money to account. And that has allowed not just hundreds, but potentially thousands of women, not only in the United States, but around the world, to be bought, sold, and trafficked for sex, not only by Jeffrey Epstein, but by his associates and his rich and powerful friends. And as these stories come forward, whether they're stories that have already been told, there's stories in those FBI files that have not been released by the Department of Justice and which they must release because of the subpoena, or whether they are stories of victims that have not yet come forward, we will hold you all accountable for this miscarriage of justice, for the abuse of these women and the abuse of this institution to try to cover it up, because there happens to be a very powerful person at the top who doesn't want these stories out. So that is why we subpoenaed these records. That is why these victims were here today to bravely tell their stories. And whatever justice looks like in the coming days and weeks and years, we will follow every thread. We will follow every piece of evidence. We will follow every bank record. We will follow every investigation. We will follow every court order. And we will make sure that those who were abused by these men are held accountable.
Monique, I was thinking the same thing. She is spilling that tea. She didn't name any names, but damn.
Yeah.
Every time I've seen videos of her, she is just on it, and
She's fiery.
I hope that doesn't like leave her. I hope that stays.
Well, it's gonna leave her because they're gonna put some threats out. Tell they're gonna drop some dope in her kid's bag or something. I'm telling you, these people are filthy. I don't trust any one of them.
Well,
I'm trying to be optimistic, but
yeah,
the preponderance of the evidence says something is going. They're not gonna let it out, and they'll kill for it. And I hate to say it. And
I think,
Virginia Roberts Dufresne.
yeah. Yeah. What's evident though is it's been covered up from both sides.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So and like she said, this is why, the world has gone freaking crazy, because this is worldwide. This is not just US.
Yeah, it's international.
I mean, it's scary.
It's really
again,
disgusting.
Go ahead, Marley.
It's just so disgusting how the prevalence of this sickness where men just go after young, like underage, and they take advantage of them. And this society they never believe the women. And it's hard when you've got these rich, powerful people. You had a prince and thousands of women. That's who we know of.
Over 20 and 30 years.
Yeah, God, it's so disgusting. Every time I hear about this, it's triggering, makes me want to cry. It makes me angry, frustrated. It's just something needs to be done. I hope.
You can
But
go
you
back
think about
slavery. You can go back to slavery and think about all the different colors that African American women are. And every time you look at one different one of us, like even all of us are not the same color.
Yeah.
And that was because of rape. And then you had me even not only raping
great.
me.
If there's anything to learn from this, it's that any amount of power that especially men can have over, in this case, like young women, it's so corrupt, and it's so disgusting.
That's why
It's not
Trump
new.
wants to dismiss
It's
it.
just
He wants
not
to
new. It's been
dismiss
going
it.
on since the beginning of
He
time.
wants to dismiss it so he can go up and just walk up to you and kiss you, and that's enough to make you mad. He walked up to you and kissed you, and he want men to be able to just keep doing that. And I
And
mean,
yet,
he looks horrible.
And yet, as a woman, if you fight back, he'll sue you for assault.
Yeah.
If Trump ever tried to come up to me and kiss me, like I said, I kick him right where it hurts. I don't care. But I know how people are frightened of him. But hey, it goes before 2016 when he was running for president. We already heard him come out of that trailer.
That's right.
He was proud of it.
Access Hollywood.
King.
He said, I just walk up to him and kiss him. And I'm like, you just walk up to him and kiss. I grab
I
him.
wish a motherfucker would pull up on me like that, bro. You gonna get some smoke in the city.
I'm just gonna tell you, but it's the same thing. You think about Idris Elba walking up to you trying to give you a kiss. I'm just saying, people could do it to even hug him. I'm
This
just
is
saying,
so gross. We can't
but it's
talk
not
about
true.
Trump kissing anybody. It's so sick.
In 1990, 1995, Trump would have came up and gave you a hug and a kiss on the cheek. I would have. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
But
That's
I
unrealistic.
I
not
don't
to think
mean
that
to
you would
date
have.
myself,
But
but
what if
I
he
was
grabbed
at,
you by the vagina? How about
well,
that?
I
probably
was
wouldn't have
at
done the same.
work. I was at work one day, and y'all remember Flip Wilson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Flip Wilson, he was there talking to us, and next thing I know, he just kissed me. And I was like, what? So I'm saying this dates back so far that they just think they can take advantage of women.
Well,
I don't think we've heard you curse before.
never
Not
heard
the
it.
MF.
Well, because I don't normally do that, and I couldn't believe I was just standing there listening, and I'm like, this man just kissed me.
I mean, I think it drives home the point that it was a very serious situation for you. Like, you don't usually.
Right, but that's what goes on. Think about everybody that watched Jerry Sandusky at Ohio State do what he did, but nobody's in jail but
Penn
Jerry.
State.
Y'all
Ohio
remember
State had a scandal too.
Family
Yeah.
Feud?
Yeah.
Remember that white guy on Family Feud? Oh,
Richard Dawson kissed everybody.
Kissed everybody. You're so gross.
Keep in mind, though, these are children too.
We also have to remember that cultures treat women of a certain age differently. Remember the whole Mormon scandal?
Yeah.
You know, with these brides at
Yeah.
what, 11? Where I was going back to where
Yeah.
celebrities even now are in their 80s having babies with what, 20, 30-year-olds?
Robert De Niro has like a 5-month-old. He 85.
no, that's not sexual assault.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about men and their.
No, I'm talking about the fact that this
age.
50-year-old man is on top of me.
Well, isn't
Right.
Caroline Levitt's husband like in
And-
his 60s?
Ew.
Yes.
You know,
And the old rule where if you're married, it isn't rape, right?
Yeah, and that's not true. It is rape, and they do
Yeah.
rape their wives.
You can tell Caroline Levitt got some deep, dark trauma going on. Because is she Mormon? Because that would make so much more sense to me.
That would,
I think she's just Christian fundamentalist or something.
yeah.
You know what's scary though
I don't know.
is that 100% that those men that were a part of the Epstein, like sex trafficking, they're still doing that right now. I know for sure.
Absolutely, it's not.
No way they
They're not
stop.
Well,
going
they
with it.
named
Because they
the
know
guy.
they've gotten away with it and they will continue. to.
Of course, and they're being empowered
What's
to
the
do that.
man's name? The man's name is Wes something, and he was the one that started Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein didn't have no money. The guy named Wes.
Are you talking about the guy from
Yes,
Victoria's
he's the
Secret?
one that had the money to fund all of this.
Were there any boys that
Lex
were
Wessner.
affected by this situation?
Not that we're aware
Not
of.
this one, as far as we know.
No, I thought
I don't think that was their thing. There are definitely plenty of boys that have been, affected by this type of behavior, but I don't think
But
that
if they
was their
have
type. You can tell that they got a little bit of a type here just from the people.
But if they have clients, it's what the client wants, right?
Yeah, and then they have clients. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like Donald might not have been specifically involved with the women that we're talking today, but he might have had his own little group of people that he liked
It was decades.
that just weren't involved with Epstein specifically. And so we gotta think about that, right? And so and these people were traveling all over the world. They had clients in all over the place and rich people all over everywhere.
Well, don't forget Abercrombie and
All these
Fitch
perverts and
did the
all these
same thing.
the people they had their type, and they enlisted Jeffrey and all these people to help them get the people that they wanted.
That's
Period.
what I was
Follow that
thinking.
money, you'll
Gotta
find them.
be some boys in that.
In the Abercrombie
Absolutely,
was the boys
multiple.
mainly.
It could be. Yeah.
My question would be, do you think there's hope that we might finally get to justice for some
Nope.
of these women? No, no, and
I feel
why?
like they're too powerful.
Not now.
Like Anitra said, they're willing to kill, I think.
I thought this country was the only country that was different. I thought we were different and we had
We ain't
rights
different.
and we could vote and we could have our own bank accounts and our own credit cards and drive our own cars. And then next thing I know, it seemed like in 5 minutes, I couldn't do nothing anymore.
That's
And
because
then
it wasn't all that wasn't built on something stable. It was built on lies and in a real fucked up history. This country is built on oppressing people. And we the people were not meant to benefit from anything that has been built in this country.
Have
And you
you
can
got
see by how they're just going and running amok and doing whatever the fuck they want.